It's been a busy spring and summer for road crews repairing, resurfacing, and reconfiguring, and in the case of a 9-mile stretch of road from Jamaica to Winhall, ending at the intersection of routes 11 and 30 near Bromley Mountain, a nearly complete rebuild of a stretch of road that badly needed it. And to top it off, add in a new culvert that will close a part of Route 30 in Bonneville for 3 days over this weekend. The road from the intersection of Route 100 and Route 11 in Rawsonville has been ground down to its dirt level, obliging motorists to slow down and navigate that stretch carefully, some places in single lanes. The entire project is reckoned to cost nearly $13 million, the majority of it coming from Federal Highway Fund dollars. The road project prompted a lengthy discussion and presentation at a recent meeting of the Winhall Select Board, where representatives from VTrans, the Vermont Transportation Agency, described the project and answered questions.
This is Bruce Martin. I'm a project manager in the roadway design group of VTrans. The roadway design has a small culvert rehabilitation program, and that's what we're here to talk about is the small culvert. It's just east of the North House. We were called in to look at that culvert because the invert is actually failing, and there was a head wall on the outlet side that was actually tipping away from the roadway itself and causing erosion that was encroaching onto the shoulder. It has since fallen into the stream, and there's been more erosion. So that's why this project was programmed in our group.
Father Michael, I represent the people who own Bromley View on 30 here. The signage on 11 as you're going to make that turn onto 30, I mean it says closed. Okay, we've already lost tons of money this year because of the road, and I won't even talk about my car repairs. Is there a way, I mean, because people have already made reservations and they think they're going to be able to get to Bromley, but the signage doesn't indicate they can get to Bromley. It says closed.
And I noticed that too, and I think that's a thing for the resident engineer and the contractor. I've gotten several phone calls about everyone thinks all of Route 30 is going to be closed, and I didn't realize where that was coming from until I came up 11, and the message board is a little bit, like if you know what it's talking about, it's very clear, but if you don't really know, I can kind of see how that was a little, I can see how it's a little confusing
if people
actually.
knew this room would be.
The following week, we took a drive up to Winhall and talked with Brandon Kipp, the project manager for the Route 30 road rebuild, and Chad Greenwood, the resident engineer, to learn more about the project.
Okay, so what you're seeing out here is a pavement reclaim project. Just to list all the steps, what we do in this type of treatment, we cold plane off a portion of the road surface. So out here, there might have been 6 inches of pavement out there before construction began, and we milled roughly 4 inches. And then we go through and we pulverize it with a reclaimer, almost like a giant rototiller, so to speak. And then after that, we add gravel to that surface and correct all the geometry throughout the entire roadway segment. And then what we do is we take all that milled wrap, recycled asphalt pavement, and we create a cold mix layer, which means we screen it. We add virgin gravel, emulsion, and cement, and we create a cold mix layer, and that's what's going to happen this Thursday. The first lift of cold mix will happen along the entire roadway segment. When that's completed, then we'll put the hot mix layers on. For this project, I think we're doing 2.5 inches of type 2, followed by another 1.5 inches of type 4. So that's like a traditional hot mix layer that you would normally see on a normal paving job. So there's roughly 4 or 5 major steps. It's a pretty in-depth treatment. It's probably 1 notch below reconstructing the entire roadway. So that's pretty much the general summary of what we're doing out here.
So Chad, you're the project sort of supervisor or manager, the guy on the scene here. What's been the biggest challenge you faced so far getting this project done? Just sort of keeping traffic in control must be a big problem.
Yeah, so I oversee
contractor, Pike, which weather has basically been the biggest issue this spring. We started on the north end, cold planing down the 4 to 5 inches that Brandon was talking about, and it was going good. But as we continued south, we started getting less pavement, started hitting more gravel, which obviously any rainstorm event creates a pothole. Pike initially started on the north end with the initial reclaim pass. Got about 2.5 miles or so done. In the meantime, the cold planer proceeded south, and as it got worse as we got through the village, so a change of plans had to be made. They moved the reclaiming operation down here to get it to gravel, so where they could at least grade it. Every rain event, pretty much, it turned to pretty rough potholes. That's been the major setback. They're on their second reclaim pass now. That should possibly be done the end of the week, beginning of next week, and paving the cold mix hopefully will start Thursday, weather pending.
A layer of asphalt is being laid down soon, which will make the driving easier for motorists as work continues, and work is scheduled to run through until mid to late October. The road work has had its impact on some local businesses, but most of the people who turned out for the select board meeting seemed to have a philosophical attitude about it, that the road needed significant repair, and when it was over, it would be in vastly better shape than what it had been before.
I think when it's over, it's going to be exactly what was needed. You know, the road's been dangerous for a long time, and nobody really realizes how bad it has been because it hasn't affected them. But if you're on this road all the time, you see accidents, you see puddles, you see ice, you see, dangerous, not collisions, but, where people are close to one another. I think this is the right thing to do. It's too bad it is what it is,
Now, is it affecting business at all?
I'm sure.
I would think that there must be a lot of customers
But
that can't
that's, what are you going to do? It's in the long run, it'll be better for everybody. For the greater good would be my word.
Sometimes you just got to say it is what it is. They needed it desperately. They're doing it the right way. None of us are civil engineers around this community. They're doing it, in my opinion, what they have to do. And yeah, it's a pain in the neck, but you know what? We'll deal with it.
Some have wondered why a 9-mile-long project couldn't have been done in stages, rather than all at once. Brandon Kipp explained the reasoning behind why completing the entire stretch from start to finish was the better route to go.
I think breaking it up in stages would probably prolong construction into multiple seasons. It would also probably increase costs. The contractor only has so many pieces of equipment, and they need to, jockey those pieces of equipment all throughout the state. So having it open little small segments here and there, it wouldn't be efficient. It would be costly. It would probably turn into a 2 or 3 year project. I think you'd get a better surface. You get a better surface if you can do one long stretch of roadway at a time instead of opening small segments up. For the grading operation probably wouldn't be very efficient. There are many design aspects to it that wouldn't be favorable if we did small segments at a time, and it'd be costly and it would take a lot longer.
Meanwhile, back on Route 1130, motorists traveling up that way should expect some delays as road crews do a mill and fill upgrade to the roadway. There, unlike on Route 30 through Winhall, the road is primarily being resurfaced to even out some of the ruts and wrinkles that have crept in over time. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.